So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back once again to the greatest watch market update show in the world. That's right. Today, Sweet Kid Kino has prepared an unbelievable show, ladies and gentlemen. We have an unbelievable watch market update set up for you guys, and we also have some information that I know that most of your Muppet Boiler Room secondary great watch market channels and leaders won't dare to share with you, but we will because we are just stupid like that, and we're going to share it with you guys. And we're going to dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, I made a video, I believe, like a year and a half ago, and it just happened as soon as this was decided what they were going to do. I made this video in August of 2023. Rolex decided to buy out Carl F. Bucherer. You know, Carl F. Bucherer, a big watch manufacturer of, high-end watches. And Bucherer was also one of the first customers Rolex had. They were unbelievable. These people have had over 100 Rolex ADs. They were authorized dealers for Rolex. They've been around since 1888. And so, ladies and gentlemen, some news happened yesterday. I'm sure that most of you out there know about this news because you guys are very smart, But Rolex decided, once they purchased Carl F. Bucherer, which is also a watch brand, and it's been around in the family for many, many, many years. So Rolex purchased all those ADs, and they also purchased Carl F. Bucherer watches. So in August of 2023, they became the owner. Rolex became the owner of Bucherer watches and Carl F. Bucherer. And in 2025, yesterday, Rolex decided that they were no longer going to be using Carl F. Bucherer watches. They were shutting it down, They were shutting it down just like that, Caput, finito, I mean, Carl F. Bucherer, whether you guys know who they are or you guys don't know who they are, they make unbelievable movements. Let's just put it this way. They make unbelievable minute repeaters, minute repeater watches. Unbelievable. I mean, I don't know if you guys know who this Carl F. Bucherer is, but I'm gonna give you a little help, and talk to you a little bit about this watch brand that Rolex decided to shut down. There was no homage to them. There was no, let's do this in a classy way. They just shut them down. Lo cerraron como unos puercos. Lo botaron para casa el carajo. Lo botaron para el carajo. They didn't want no more. What they wanted was, all their ADs and, all those, stores they had around the world. These people were monsters. These people were King Kong. Esta gente eran King Kong, eran unos monstruos. And they just, basically they were treated like garbage. They treated them like garbage. And I want you to know that Carl F. Bucherer produces minute repeaters, unbelievable. This is something big. So basically what Rolex is doing, at least do a homage to this, Carl F. Bucherer. No, but none of that stuff. No, get him out of here. We don't want him here. Like como un perro sanoso, like a dog with fleas. Get out of here. We don't want you no more. But I believe Rolex, what they're doing is they know they have unbelievable watchmakers in Carl F. Bucherer, unbelievable watchmakers. And they do unbelievable movements, in particular, that minute repeater. And I want you guys to know something. I believe Rolex is taking all those watchmakers from Carl F. Bucherer. Get it through your head, ladies and gentlemen. Carl F. Bucherer. They're going to take all those watch master makers and bring them into their, into their team, into Rolex. Rolex has been out of the game of the minute repeater, perpetual calendar. They've been out of that game. And I want you guys to know something. If Rolex gets involved in the game of producing minute repeater watches, ladies and gentlemen, you're talking about the Rolex is going to go into a different kind of game. You're talking about a minute repeater for Rolex. You're talking about between $150,000 and $300,000 for a Rolex minute repeater. Get it through your head, ladies and gentlemen. Usted está en la paja. You guys gotta stop being crumb bums, You guys gotta stop being crumb bums. I can't be here explaining you things always. I can't be doing that. I mean, basically the one that's explaining all this to you is not me. It's Sweet Kid Kino. He's the brains of this channel and I am the voice. Yo lo estoy diciendo correcto, ¿verdad? Que la Rolex ahora, si se mete a hacer relojes de minute repeater y perpetual calendar, toda esa jodienda, that watch is going to cost, and to get a Rolex from them as a minute repeater, I'm talking about $200,000, $250,000, whatever they want, whatever they want. Rolex is the king of watches, Rolex can do whatever they want, and they have this staff. That's right. They have this, that's right, Kevin. They have this staff of unbelievable master watchmakers. So I believe what Rolex is doing, they're bringing all this army, from Carl F. Bucherer into their facility of Rolex to stop producing these watches, because I believe Rolex is going in the direction that I've been saying. The Rolex wants very, very high-end customers. They want that typical customer from Patek Philippe, that type of customer from Patek, that type of customer from AP, they want that type of customer. And if they do this movement, ladies and gentlemen, se jodieron, papi, you guys are not going to see a Rolex. I mean, I don't want to say ever again, but, se jodieron. You're not going to see that no more, because Rolex is going to be the one in charge of all their stores. There's mumbo jumbo no more, Ellos no quieren la gonorrea esta. Ustedes porque son unos lambones. You guys are lambones, and you guys don't understand this. But this is what's coming, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that Rolex will be bringing in all those watch master movement makers into the Rolex factory to stop producing these complications, grand complications. They want to be in the same level as Patek Philippe. It's sad, but it's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody has to tell you. And ladies and gentlemen, who's sharpening up their teeth, and getting ready for all this? Your favorite Muppet Boiler Room secondary grade watch market channels and dealers. They're getting ready, man. They're licking their chops, because this is when they're going to make a killing again. If this happens, and I believe, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you guys one day are going to write and say, where I heard this from? I heard it from Mr. Sweet Kid Joaquin, because he doesn't want me to call him no more Kino. He's kind of annoyed at me because I keep on calling him Kino. But Joaquin and Juan, I heard it from them. They were saying that this is going to happen. And if this happens, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to see a Rolex for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. You guys got to stop being, crumb bums. You guys are a bunch of crumb bums. You don't know what a crumb bum is? You Google it, ladies and gentlemen, because I got to keep on telling you all this information. They also did the Monero repeater. Carl F. Bucherer did the Monero repeater. These people do monster movements. Get the name Carl F. Bucherer in your head. So you understand who they are. And what Rolex wanted was all those ADs, and they wanted, the factory of these master movement makers, of grand complications. Rolex has been out of that game forever. Rolex has not been in that game for many, many, I'm talking about, un cojón de años, para que me entiendan. Un cojón de años. You know what cojón means? You Google it. I don't have time to explain to you. And neither Sweet Kid can explain to you because I'm not going to let him, ladies and gentlemen. You need to, learn. You guys can be skip hopping around through life like a rabbit. You can't. You cannot be doing that, ladies and gentlemen. So this is what's happening right now with Rolex. And let me tell you something, Rolex, they're, like I said, they're a bunch of hucksters and hoodwinks and flip-flammers. And this is what they're going to be doing, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm telling you, to touch a Rolex very soon, it's going to be real, real hard, man. It's going to be real, real hard because they want to get selected high-end, clients. And I'm telling you, they want those clients. They want a piece of that action. And they can do it because these guys are the kings. These guys are the kings. The rest sit around the Rolex table. Son unos gigantes, papi. And seriamente, look into, because I know that a lot of you don't even know what's going on with Carl F. Bucherer, what Rolex has done to them. Shut them down. No celebration, no party, no going away, nothing. Whoever had a grandfather pocket watch by Carl F. Bucherer, finito, se jodió. There's no more of those, watchmakers there now, because they're gonna be called now Rolex watchmakers. And these people are bringing in some unbelievable watchmakers to produce those watches. And ladies and gentlemen, I already told you, you're talking about a minute repeater watch by Rolex. Papi, tienen que tener mucha pasta, mucho chavo, mucha lana, mucho cuarto. ¿No entendiste? Mucho money, no honey. Those watches are going to cost $300,000, ladies and gentlemen. Those watches are going to cost a lot of money. I know what I'm telling you. You cannot continue being crumb bums. You can't. I'm here. Remember, me and Sweet Kid Kino, we are a public service watch announcement channel. While you window lickers and crayon eaters and tomato cans and lollipop suckers, you keep on maintaining your favorite Muppet Boiler Room secondary grade watch market channel. You know that? You maintain them. You love them and you maintain them because you guys are a bunch of window lickers. But me and Sweet Kid Kino, we bring you information to help you out so you can be ahead of the game. So you can be ahead of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, Rolex is giving watches out right now. But if this happens, they're going to lock everything in lockdown. Everything's going to be on lockdown, ladies and gentlemen. I know what I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. I know what I'm trying to tell you. But you guys don't want to listen, and you guys want to keep on hopping around through life like a rabbit, listening to these monkeys, to these cockroaches, that they're just full of mierda. You know what mierda is? Well, you understand? And me and Sweet Kid Kino, we keep on giving you all this information because we are who we are. We're stupid. Somos unos pendejos. Me and Sweet Kid Kino somos lambones. Somos lambones. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get prepared because what's happening with Rolex is not playing fair ball. Rolex is not frogging around. I didn't say a bad word. Rolex is not frogging around. Rolex wants deep, deep pockets. He doesn't want my money. He doesn't want your money. He wants, those people, that guy, the guy that he's like, he has the toupee wig man, wears green shoes, blue pants, orange shirt, with the toupee wig man. He wants that type of client, ladies and gentlemen. And you guys got to get ahead of the game. and start moving quickly because this is going to happen soon. You know how long Rolex let Carl F. Bucherer been around? I'm telling you, I have a video that I made in 2023 regarding this that I'm going to put it, I'm going to reload it tonight. I'm going to repost it tonight. Repost it or load it. ¿Cómo se dice eso? Reload it. Reload it. So you kick just one after me. Unbelievable. But I'm going to put it. They want colossal wells, eh? Ed, please tell these people they don't understand this stuff. They don't know. This is too much information for them. You know, I'm giving them something unbelievable. Ed, what do you think that Rolex is going to do with all these master movement watchmakers from Carl F. Bucherer? What are they going to do with them now? You know, these people are monsters. These Bucherer watchmakers son monstruos. These people are genius. You know, not many people can do this type of movement. You know, this is they pass it down to their son passes it down to their son, great son. These are masters. You know, only the strong survive. Okay, that's right. But this is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Rolex is not frogging around. And I'm telling you, this Carl F. Bucherer, I'm telling you, it was founded in the year 1888. This was Rolex's first customer. You know, they should do a big homage to them, you know, celebrate with them. Y lo trataron como bolsa de basura. You understand that? You know what bolsa de basura is, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, you guys gotta really get it together. I'm gonna tell you a story, ladies and gentlemen, about the cuervo. You know the cuervo? The cuervo is a big bird. You know, a big bird that he's all black. And you ever seen the movie Scream? You know, Scream, and the guy wears a mask and he's all black and he has like little white eyes. Well, this cuervo is just like that. He's all black and he has like little white sockets, you know, white sockets. He's an unbelievable predator, this bird, you know? This bird is unbelievable. This bird is the only bird that dares to attack an eagle. You heard that right. Listen up and learn, ladies and gentlemen. This story was taught to me by my father, my beloved father, who I beloved, miss, and love. And he told me this, hijo, son, you know, this bird is a SOB. He's a son of a bitch. You know, this cuervo, he doesn't, you know who the cuervo bird is? He's a mean guy, this bird. And he has guts. Y tiene huevo, tiene pelota, tiene cojones. Tiene cojones. That's not a bad word either, guys. And ladies and gentlemen, this bird is flying around because carnívoro. He likes meat, you know, le gusta la carne, you know, the cuervo. And he's flying around and he sees the eagle, which no bird would dare to mess around with the eagle. And the cuervo is flying next to the eagle, and he lands in top of the eagle's back. Unbelievable, that cuervo. And he starts laying there on top of the eagle. The eagle is ignoring him, and the cuervo starts pecking and biting him in the neck. Okay? Pecking and biting him in the neck. And the eagle doesn't give a frog about what's going on because the eagle is unbelievable. He's a master. The eagle is a master. So this cuervo is just biting him and frogging around with the eagle and being obnoxious and just bothering him. So the eagle does what a smart person would do. He starts, you know, flying high, you know, looking for altitude. This is the eagle, you know. He starts going all the way up. The eagle starts going all the way up. And the cuervo is in the back, pecking him. And as he goes up and up, the eagle is losing, you know, air, you know, because this eagle can go all the way up, ladies and gentlemen. You know, like fly, pelican, fly, exactly. but the pelican cannot fly what this eagle flies. So he flies all the way up, and he's taking that. He's taking, like these flim flammers have been taking you guys for too long. You know, the way you guys have been taken for too long, the eagle takes him for a ride. And when he's up there, the Cuervo is losing oxygen when he's up there, and he's dizzy. You know, he's doing the cha-cha-cha up there, you know? He's still pecking on him, but he's kind of frogged up. He's like a dodo bird now. The Cuervo becomes a dodo bird now. And the eagle is just flying high. I'm gonna teach this flim flammer, this fleece, this huckster, this hoodwink a lesson, you know? And this is the lesson you guys should be teaching all those people who have been fleecing you and flim flamming you for too long. So the eagle goes too high, and the Cuervo loses oxygen, and he lets go, and it's finito. He dropped, you know? He dropped, and he dropped all the way down, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what you guys gotta be doing, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I can't be here doing this all day long for you guys. I can't be babysitting you guys. Ustedes son unos gilipollas. Ustedes son unos atrevidos y unos frescos. Son unos caripelados por permitir que le hagan esto. ¿Tú entiendes? Que le hagan esto. En el orto, por huele bicho. ¿Tú entendiste? I'm just telling you what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. And going back to Carl F. Bucherer, you know, I'm telling you, I want to give him I want to give him some respect, you know, for what they did. But I knew all day long that Rolex had the ace of spades in their pocket. You know, they gave him a year and a half. Get out. This is how it works. This is how these monsters work. You know? Get out now. We don't want you here no more. We want your stores, and we're going to take over all this, and we're going to take over all your factory now. The factory's mine. And they're gonna start producing minute repeaters all day long, every day, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, that watch is gonna be for big people. You know, this is for big people. This is for big people, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to help you guys out with information. It's difficult, ladies and gentlemen. I know, I understand that you guys like to be lied to. You know, you like to be flim-flam by your favorite Muppet Boiler Room secondary gray watch market channels and dealers. That's fine. We're not going to do that to you guys because me and Sweet Kino is stupid like that. No, ¿verdad, Kino? Estamos jodidos, papi, con tu gilipollas. Que no me hagas así, Micho. No me hagas así, papá. Esta gente es una rata. Rata, papá. Son rata. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. You know what's going on with Carl F. Bucherer? It's finito. It's gone. If you have a grandfather pocket watch, se jodió, papi. It's over. You know? It's over. Nobody can fix that watch no more. No more service. You know? It's over, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, it doesn't matter. I've tried. It doesn't matter. You're right. It doesn't matter. But you know why it doesn't matter? Porque tú eres un lambón. Porque tú eres un lambón. You understand? You understand what they did to Carl F. Bucherer from 1888 producing watches? No seas lambón, papi. No seas lambón. Eso da pena, papi. Eso da mucha pena. That's why I say they should put that 20% tariff, you know, to everybody out there. You know, que se joda todo. Que se joda. That's how I feel right now. I'm annoyed what they've done to Carl F. Bucherer. You know, that Rolex, you know, whatever he is, CFO, CEO, astronaut, es una gonorrea. He's a cockroach. He's a cockroach, what he did. He's a cockroach. So I'm giving you the heads up, so now you can do your own research and look into Carl F. Bucherer and find out what Rolex did to them, which it wasn't a good thing, you know? It wasn't. And like I'm telling you, Rolex has been out of the complication game for, I'm talking about years, 50, 60, 70 years out of it. And they want to come back into that game because they want your children's tuition money. They want your 401k, and they're coming after it. They're coming after it. You know, I was watching a show the other day of a guy over there, you know, one of those princes, you know, the prince from Dubai. And he was telling someone, ladies and gentlemen, hay que tener cojones, papi. Hay que tener cojones. He was telling somebody, this prince, you know, this sheik, you know, unbelievable. He has like $150 million in watches, $250 million in watches. And he was telling someone that buying watches is a better investment than real estate. Yes, that you should buy one property. Listen to what this, you know, Prince was telling this person. You should buy one property and everything else that you buy should be a watch. This is what they got for you, flim flammers. You know, these flim flammers is what they got for you because you guys are a bunch of spoofballs and a bunch of dodo birds, ladies and gentlemen. That's why. But ustedes son los gilipollas. They know that. They know that you guys are easy targets. They know that. So this is what this guy is saying. You know, it's a guy who has the white, you know, the white tunic, and he has the little hat, you know, with the little black thing around him. And he's saying that to the people, to buy one property and the rest to buy it in watches. I don't want to take no more of your time, but this is what you like to hear. You know, you like to hear that kind of stuff. And you go out there and you start hopping around and you say, I'm going to buy watches and watches and watches, and I'm not going to buy no property because the Iron Sheik told me the Iron Sheik told me that I need to buy watches. No sean huele bicho, no sean lambones. Por tu madre, no sean lambones. You understand me? This is what these people, they want to make you slaves. They want to make you obedient slaves. And me and Sweet Kikino, we want to wake you guys up. We want to wake you guys up. Da un poquito de boca, brother, de boca. De la botella esa, la buena. Echa un poquito aquí, macho. Echa un poquito, que se joda esto, brother. Gracias. Ellos no entienden nada, esta gente, son unos huele bichos. My friend Wicked doesn't know what lambón is. So please, you know, Wicked is a loyal subscriber to the channel. Explain to him what lambón is. All right, guys? Anyway, guys, I have an unbelievable watch market update for you fellas out there. And we're going to dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen, because I had enough of my head is hurting me about, you know, what Rolex did to Carl F. Bucherer. And Kino's also... Kino today has had a couple of cocktails and he's kind of sad. But I'm going to talk to you about a watch that came out in 2021. It is an Omega Speedy Canopus. You know, the Canopus. You know, Canopus, ¿verdad? Canopus. You know, Canopus, like a pussycat. You know, Canopus. White gold, white dial. And this watch, when it first came out, ladies and gentlemen, I went to the Caribbean and I wanted to get this watch. And it was impossible to get the watch, you know. It was impossible to get it because all the Muppet Boiler Room secondary gray watch market dealers were greasing up all the Omega owners with boutiques, you know, and the agents and all that good stuff. They were greasing them up and they got the watch, you know. In a way, I am very happy I never got the Canopus because I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to explain to you. This watch, the reference number of this watch, just in case you want to look it up, is the 310-6042-5002-001. And like I said, it came out in 2021 and everybody went bananas. You know, and this watch, you know, they call it the Canopus because it has 75% gold, 20% palladium, and 5% platinum. Understand? And this watch has a retail price of $55,000. Unbelievable when it came out. $55,000 when it first came out. And it went all the way up to $65,000 to $70,000. And people thought that watch was going to keep on climbing and climbing up, you know? If anybody knows anything about this Omega Speedy Canopus, write it down. Go ahead. Share your thoughts with these people. Share your thoughts. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk to you about Chart Watches. Chart Watches has this watch for sale at this moment. For sale. They have it there, on their price guide, and they have that watch for $29,926, and they put there the word so you learn, so you can compare apples to apples with Opus and Time Watches watch market update and their watch market update. The Chart Watches, chart, just put it backwards, and you'll get the name. Chart Watches. And they have it there for, let's say, $29,926. Let's round it off to $30,000. And they put there in high letters, extreme risk. Está botando el dinero. You're throwing your money away. You understand me? You're throwing your money away. Como un gilipollas. Someone got fleeced. And ladies and gentlemen, they're telling you extreme risk. And I'm going to tell you, I already told you the price that Chart Watches has, and I'm going to give you the prices that Opus and Time Watches has. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that watch. You do whatever you want with your money. You do whatever you want with your money. But don't pay for that watch more than $23,000. And dummy! Watch market dead. You do whatever you want, ladies and gentlemen. Keep on maintaining those peoples. While me and Sweet Kid Kino get caught holding the short end of the stick. You know that? That's fine. We are a public service watch announcement channel. This is what we do. We are like me and Kino are like Mother Teresa, we help the people out. Mother Teresa, beautiful persona, persona bella. And ladies and gentlemen, you cannot continue giving away your children's tuition money, and you guys cannot continue giving away your 401k. I know what I'm telling you. Our next watch is an Audemars Piguet, the Code 1159. Code, like CODE, and the time 1159. Unbelievable looking time machine. Rose gold. 41 millimeters. They call it the purple smoke dial. The purple smoke dial. Listen up, ladies and gentlemen, and learn. Get it together, ladies and gentlemen. This is a chronograph, self-winding. Unbelievable. Reference number 26393OR. They also call it pink gold. Retail price of this watch is $49,700. Unbelievable looking time machine, ladies and gentlemen. And me and Sweet Kid Kino are going to have to tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Wicked. Thank you very much for supporting this unbelievable organic watch channel. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Let's put it here. We got to do things right, It's unbelievable, these people, Unbelievable. And we're going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want. But don't pay for that AP Cold 1159 Rose Gold, 41 millimeters. Does anybody know how much you think I'm going to say not to pay? Anybody? Any takers out there? With that purple smoke dial and dropping. You're right, Ed, it's dropping. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want. It has a strap as well. Look at this. Franco Fiore said $78,000, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe that? $78,000. Unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that AP Code 1159 Rose Gold 41 millimeter purple smoke dial chronograph self-winding, reference number 26393OR. Retail price $49,700. Ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want with your 401k, but don't pay for that watch more than $29,500. And bang! There it is. You corrected yourself now, Franco. You corrected yourself. You corrected yourself, right, guys? Don't do it. And let me tell you the good part about that. Dropping, dropping. Un poquito más, ¿verdad? ¿Cuánto tienes ahí? Séñamelo. Dropping a little more. That watch, I told you right now, $29,500. Next week, I'm telling you, next week that watch will be at $26,000. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. Our next watch is an AP Royal Oak Offshore rose gold titanium bezel, self-winding chrono, 43 millimeter, reference number 26420. Unbelievable time machine with a gray dial, strap, new model, ladies and gentlemen, the new model. Unbelievable. Retail price is $59,600. Unbelievable. This watch is beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. You know I say the truth. This is a beautiful, beautiful looking time machine. It's a new model. But I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that AP. Thank you very much, Ty, as always. Thank you so much, Ty. You're a gentleman, my brother. Thank you so much for cooperating with this, public service watch announcement channel. Thank you very much. All this is going to be going to Sweet Kid Kino for his new child's formula. Sweet Kid Kino's getting married, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I got to tell you. That's all I got to tell you. Oh, Franco's saying $43,000. Okay. This, thank you so much. Thank you very much. So we're going back to this AP Royal Oak Offshore rose gold titanium bezel, self-winding chrono, 43 millimeter, reference number 26420. Retail price $59,600. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you with all honesty, this is an unbelievable looking time machine. It has a leather strap, has a couple of straps. And this watch is basically a new model. And we're going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want, but don't pay for that model watch. Don't pay more than $55,000. And dropping, you do whatever you want. Dropping, Ed is giving money away again. Ed Blair is giving money away again. You do whatever you want, Ed, with your money. You do whatever you want. Papi, es que siguen regalando el dinero, papi. Se lo siguen regalando esta gente. Mientras yo y tú seguimos trayéndole material. We bring you material. Sweet Kid Kino sits down. Sweet Kid Kino has a little desk in our warehouse, in our warehouse, and he sits down. And I even let him, go ahead, Kino, do it, do that stuff. And we get you all this material. Because you know why? Because you guys are crumb bums. You guys are a bunch of crumb bums. That's right. You guys are crumb bums. Kino, que son unos crumb bums. Son unos crumb bums. You don't know what a crumb bum is? You need to Google it so you can understand what a crumb bum is. Unbelievable. I'm still annoyed what Rolex did to Carl F. Bucherer. They're taking all their master watch, those movements they do, these people, watchmakers are unbelievable, and they need them badly because they don't have that. Rolex doesn't have that. Rolex has little robots, putting pieces together. You guys don't even know that. So we're never even going to go there because you guys listen to those Muppet Boiler Room secondary gray watch market dealers giving you the sketch, We don't. We don't. You tell them, Mac. You tell them, Mac. Tell them like it is. Crumb bums. You know what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen? You know what a crumb bum is? Es que no sabe, macho, no sabe. They skip hopping around through life like a rabbit. Unbelievable. Our next watch, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Rolex Daytona White Gold Captain America. Captain America, 40 millimeter, with the red and blue and white gauges. Captain America, that guy is unbelievable. And this guy is like the cousin of the John Mayer, with the green dial, yellow gold, but this is the white guy, white guy with the blue dial, dead. That's how the watch market is dead, ladies and gentlemen. You do whatever you want. But ladies and gentlemen, for your information, I know that you guys are believing everything they're telling you. You know, you believe everything. You believe it's like like when they told you that the United States landed in the moon. You know, I mean, some people say that they never landed in the moon. So, you believe that those prices are going up, and you keep on believing it. But that's how it is. Unbelievable but true. And I'm gonna tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't pay for that Rolex Daytona white gold Captain America 40 millimeter reference number 116509 with a retail price of $41,600. I'm going to tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about used slider condition material watches in this channel. We're talking about used. Absolutely, Ed. You're working on it, Ed. You're working on it. Don't pay. Since Ed already put it there, I'm going to say it fast. Don't pay for that Captain America Rolex white gold Daytona with a blue dial. Don't pay more than $37,000 and dropping, and it's going to keep on dropping, ladies and gentlemen. Next week is February the 14th, the Love Day, and after that, watches are just gonna, they're gonna fall apart. I'm telling you, you do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. Hey, Ty. Come on, you tell them you know about this stuff, Ty. You're a smart man, Ty. Usted es un hombre brillante. Usted es un hombre brillante como Ed Blair. Ed Blair put that $38,000. He was right there. He was right there. He got that one right. Unbelievable but true, ladies and gentlemen. Our next watch is another Rolex GMT Master white gold blue dial. Before I continue, how much do you think I'm going to say to you guys not to pay? How many do you think? Huh? How much? Credit card rate, 29%. Wow. This is the Rolex GMT Master White Gold Blue Dial. 40 millimeter. Reference number 126719BLRO. With a blue dial, ladies and gentlemen. This is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. If you're thinking of buying that stainless steel Jubilee Pepsi, I mean, just take a look at the white gold one and put it on. I mean, just take a look at it and put it on. GMT Master 2, beautiful blue dial, not the black one, the blue dial, the new model. And this watch at one moment was all the way up to $60,000, ladies and gentlemen, $60,000. And the retail price of that watch is $45,200. $45,200, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to have to tell you the truth. How much do you think I'm going to say? How much, Ed? Oh, my God. Ed did it again. Ed did it again. The Corona era. You're right, Ed. You did it again. Ed did it again. Who said 33? You're giving money away, Wicked. You're giving money away. Don't pay for that watch more than $28,900 and dropping. Le voy a dar mano, le voy a dar quino, le voy a descojonar. Dropping. Keep on giving your children's tuition money away, ladies and gentlemen. Watch my, hey, Ty, tell them, Ty. There's no more PPP loans, ladies and gentlemen. There's no more SBA. There's no more government grants. There's no more stimulus checks. There's no more unemployment checks. You guys gotta stop maintaining these people, with their red go fast car, their ripped jeans, their Montclair sweaters, Supreme hoodies, Louis Vuitton Nike sneakers, the sushi dinners, the $17,000 steak dinner with the guy with the white t-shirt and the sunglasses, and he throws salt like that, all over the place, and then he chops it, unbelievable. You got to stop that, ladies and gentlemen. You got to stop that. If you want to give that money away, give it to the animal shelters, like me and my wife do, we have a couple of puppies that we take care of, unbelievable. My wife is beautiful. My wife loves me and I love my wife. She's unbelievable, that lady of mine. She's unbelievable. But ladies and gentlemen, stop spending your children's tuition money. La situación está jodida, papi. I mean, you do whatever you want, ladies and gentlemen. You do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk to you about a watch that in the year 2005, my daughter was turning 15 years old, like the sweet 16. But for us Latin people, we call it la quinceañera, the 15th, when a young lady turns in from a baby girl into una mujer, a woman, And my daughter wanted to go with a bunch of her friends that were turning 15, and they wanted to go in a cruise. And we went on this cruise called Royal Caribbean Navigator of the Seas in 2005. And we stopped in one of those islands, and we stopped in Cozumel. And that year, in 2005, it was the 50th anniversary of the Rolex Submariner. Stainless steel Submariner, and they made it with a green aluminum bezel. I don't know what it is, And so it was the biggest watch at that moment in 2005. So I stopped in Cozumel, and I walked in there, and I asked them if they had that watch, because I wanted to get that watch. And they told me that they did have that watch. And I'm going to show you something. But before I show you that, right now, that watch, that Rolex Submariner, this is the real Kermit. The real Kermit, the black dial with the green aluminum bezel. And they have this watch as a retail price at this moment of $6,400. They had that watch when it first came out at $6,400. I'm going to tell you the price. This is the 50th anniversary watch, and I'm going to show you something because I still have the receipt when I purchased this watch in 2005. This is the watch that I purchased, which is the Kermit. The Kermit. See if you can see this. Anybody see it? See the price that I paid for it? You see the price? Okay. I paid for that watch in Cozumel a price of $4,390 when I bought it, My daughter, that 15, la quinceañera, she's the one that wears that watch today. And I paid for $4,390. And today they have it in REIT. When they, I started climbing up the demand, it went all the way up to $6,400. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you today, you do whatever you want with your money. I'm going to tell you today, don't pay for that watch more. And this is an unbelievable time machine. But don't listen to these flim flammers who are telling you $16,000, $17,000, $18,000. I'm going to tell you, don't pay for that watch. Don't pay for that watch more than $12,600. And bang! I'm letting you know. Okay? There it is. There it is. You got the number, right, guys? Now, the next watch is a Rolex two-tone yellow gold with a Jubilee bracelet, 40 millimeter, black and gray ceramic bezel. Unbelievable. GMT, master. They call it the Bumblebee. They call it the Mummy. They call it this. They call it that. To flim-flam you out of your children's tuition money. Unbelievable. Reference number 126713GRNR. When it was first released, it was over $40,000, at Watches and Wonder. It was released. We're talking about a two-tone watch, Franco, just in case, because you said $35,000. But maybe, thinking about something else. This is a two-tone, two-tone Jubilee bracelet. The retail price of this watch is $17,850. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, two-tone. That's right. How much? I'm going to give you a shot. Go ahead. How much? The jiggly shit. Oh, the jiggly. Okay. 16. Okay. Don't pay for that watch, Franco. Don't pay more. Don't pay more than $17,000 and dropping, even though they're trying to hype it up again to you guys. They're trying to hype it up to $19,000, $20,000, $21,000. I'm not going to say it's a dog. No, I'm not going to say it's a dog. And neither am I going to say it's a dog with fleas. Don't pay more than $17,000, and that watch will be dropping after February the 14th. It will be dropping, ladies and gentlemen, right? I mean, in my time, two-tone watches. That's right. It's for buffaloes. Ty, you're right. It's for buffaloes. Absolutely, it's for buffaloes. I mean, it's for buffaloes. You gotta stop being crumb bums. You gotta stop being crumb bums. You gotta stop that, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot continue being crumb bums. Our next watch is a watch that all of you love and all of you want. It is a Rolex GMT Master 2 stainless steel, fully stainless steel, 40 millimeter oyster bracelet, reference number 126710BLRO. Does anybody know what I'm talking about right now? Let's see, students. What am I talking about right now? No, nobody knows? Let me drink a little water. Absolutely, Ed. Good for you, Poppy. Wow, he's on fire, that Ed today. He's on fire. We're talking about no other than the Pepsi. That's right. But this Pepsi doesn't come in that Jubilee bracelet that all of you want. This one comes in the oyster bracelet. The same heading, same hat, just different bracelets. One is Jubilee, one is oyster. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, don't pay for that Rolex stainless steel GMT Master 2 Pepsi, 40 millimeter on an oyster bracelet, reference number 126710BLRO, with a retail price of $10,800. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want, but don't pay for that watch. A used slider condition material watch. Used slider condition material watch. Don't pay more. Don't pay more than $16,000 and you do whatever you want with your children's tuition money, ladies and gentlemen. Pero la cosa está jodida, papi. La cosa está pelúa. No hay dinero, papi. No hay dinero. There's no money out there, papi. No money, papa. There's no money. Ty already tell you there's no more SBA loans, no more PPP loans, no more government grants, no more stimulus checks, no more unemployment checks. No hay dinero, papi. These are the real people. We're the real people that can probably buy these watches. The rest was a fantasy. The rest was a Corona, a Corona Fugazi. It was a Fugazi. You made all those Muppet Boiler Room secondary gray watch market dealers rich. And you got to thank me. That's right. You got to thank me and Sweet Kikino. We stopped the bleeding, ladies and gentlemen. We rattled. We rattled the Muppet Boiler Room secondary gray watch market. We rattled it, man. Don't you know we guys, me and Sweet Kikino rattled? You tell them, man, what we did. And they, I'm telling you, they'll do anything for us to go to the dark side, but we won't. We won't because we're stupid like that. You don't understand what they're offering us. And you might be thinking that I'm BSing you guys. You don't know how this is. You don't know how this small cartel works. You know that? This is like, signing your name on blood. You know what the Illuminati do? They sacrifice family members, but you got to sign on blood. This is no sketch. I'm dropping too much knowledge for you guys. Too much, too much, too much. This guy's asking me, whatever happened to the Las Vegas Buffalo Park Ranger? Can somebody explain to him what happened to Eugene? Whatever happened to him? That's right. And Bones, that's right. You tell him. Esto está jodido, papi. I mean, you do whatever you want, ladies and gentlemen. Our next watch is a Vacheron Constantin Overseas, the 6000V. The Vacheron Constantin Overseas, 6000V/110A. Stainless steel, 42.5 millimeter casing. With the most beautiful blue dial in the watch industry. To me, they make the most beautiful blue dial. Unbelievable but true, ladies and gentlemen. Vacheron Constantin, stainless steel tourbillon, blue dial, retail price $129,000. Does anybody know what kind of watch I'm talking about? No, right? Nobody knows. We're talking about a watch that's unbelievable. Vacheron Constantin watches are dead in water, ladies and gentlemen. And this watch in the Corona era, this watch went all the way up to $250,000 because this watch was for people that were driving around red go fast cars. You know what I'm saying? Not no 300ZX, Nissan 300ZX, not no Camaro Z28. No. None of that stuff. No Mustang GT. This is for people that were driving red go fast cars. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something. I'm talking about the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Tourbillon with a blue dial. Tourbillon with a blue dial, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want with your children's tuition money, but don't pay for that watch. Anybody want to tell me how much? Wow, that's pretty good, Dusty. That's pretty good, Dusty. That's pretty good. You know, this gentleman by the name of Dusty, I believe he's a new watcher in this channel. He's watching this channel. I don't know if he's a subscriber or not. If you are, go ahead, put it up there that you are. But anyway, Dusty said, don't pay more than $70,000. And you know, we say things the way they are on this channel. Exactly. You know, Volkswagen. I'm proud of a Volkswagen. Sweet Kid Kino, you're not going to believe what Sweet Kid Kino drives. You're not going to believe. Sweet Kid Kino drives a pickup. And you know who else drives a pickup, ladies and gentlemen? You want to know who else? Yours truly. I drive an F-150 pickup, Ford. Unbelievable pickup. It's unbelievable. It looks like a Lincoln Continental inside, but it's a pickup what I drive, you know? But again, these people wanted just to drive the red go fast cars. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dusty said, don't pay more than $70,000. Dusty, you can come back, Dusty. We want to introduce you to our friends, because we have an army in this channel. We have an army. And we're going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want, but don't pay for that overseas. Don't pay more than $73,000 and nothing. Okay, you do whatever you want, Dusty. But you run target. You run target. It's better to pay even less. You're right. So pay less if you're going to buy that watch. Pay less. Our next watch is a Vacheron Constantin Overseas White Gold 4300 V/120 ultra thin perpetual calendar, 41.5 millimeter casing. Retail price of this watch, it's an unbelievable retail price. It's $111,000. And this watch at one moment went all the way up. Kino, subió, papi, ese reloj, ¿tú no te recuerdas? Cuando fuimos al show de Miami en el downtown, que lo vimos. It went all the way up, ladies and gentlemen, to $200,000, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to have to tell you, this also has a blue dial. Unbelievable. Ultra thin. This is an unbelievable looking time machine. Perpetual calendar. This is, let me tell you, I'm going to dare to say this. And I don't care if you guys disagree or agree. This watch is even better than the perpetual calendar that AP makes. That's my personal opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Ultra thin time machine. That's right. Better than the AP perpetual calendar. I'm telling you, un relojazo. Reloj brutal. But for some reason, you know, AP is there holding on, and Vacheron Constantin Overseas is dead in a backyard, septic tank, and smelly. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that Overseas White Gold 4300 ultra thin perpetual calendar with a blue dial. Don't pay more than $74,000. And dropping. Le doy más kilo, ¿verdad? Le tengo que dar un poquito más. Le doy. Dropping. Ed, a little more, Ed. Tell me. Dropping. You do whatever you want, ladies and gentlemen. Kino, lo que han dado son $7.48. No hay más, papi. Esta gente no, pobrecito, tú tienes que tener respeto. Esta gente están tratando, están guardando los chavos de sus hijos. Ellos no tienen, Kino, han dado $7.48. Lo digo en español, coño. No me sigas jodiendo, macho. Están pasmados. Están pasmados, están brujas. Están brujas. Estos muchachos están brujas. Ellos le regalan todo el dinero al fat, the worst fat bastard. A ese, a la foca. A la foca, papi. Se lo regalan a la foca, papi. Para ti no hay chicle, ni para los pampers, ni para la fórmula. No hay. Está jodido, papi. Entonces vienen aquí y te preguntan a ti, how much should I pay? How much should I pay? Y ellos te preguntan, pero ellos no van allá al show de los Jehovah's Witness, two brothers, and the two Tyler Body brothers, and the worst fat bastard, and the hungry hippo, Mr. Magoo, y le preguntan cuánto debe pagar, porque son unos gilipollas. A los otros, Kino, a los otros, ellos le ven cara de pendejo a los otros. Más nada, aquí no, más nada, no. No me pregunte más. 748. No hay más nada, papi. 748. Our next watch is a Gerard Perigot Loretto. Reference number 81005. There was a moment there are gentlemen that they call trucking sweat stained hat with jumbo whiteout ears, small little hands, small feet, with skin-tight leotard jeans, 4 feet, 9 inches. He's locked away in a safe place. He's locked away. But he was parading around this watch, this Gerard Perigot Loretto. The Loretto. Unbelievable, that Loretto. Rose gold, fully rose gold. Absolutely, Flip. Thank you so much for being here, Flip, for supporting the channel. Thank you very much for being here. That means a lot to us. This is the rose gold, fully rose gold. The Loretto, beautiful watch, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. Good movement. They've been around for many, many years as well. 42 millimeter. The retail price of that watch is $55,000. $55,000. And we're talking about this watch that I'm talking about has been offered to me fully stickered. Fully stickered. Brand new watch. Brand new watch. And I'm going to have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. But don't pay. Don't pay. Don't pay Ed said 26. Don't pay for that Loretto. You do whatever you want. But don't pay for that Loretto. You do whatever you want, ladies and gentlemen. But don't pay more than $22,000 and let me tell you, that's a beautiful watch. And the reason I'm doing this watch market update on the Gerard Perigot Loretto is because people have been sending me emails asking me about this watch that I never talk about it. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The blue dial, okay? Blue dial. Blue dial. You wanted the blue dial. I'm going to give you the blue dial. Not the sand dial. I'm going to give you the blue dial. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you wanted to hear. If you're hearing this, Mr. Subscriber, I don't know if you are the subscriber to the channel, but you wanted me to talk about this watch. The Gerard Perigot Loretto. Rose gold. Blue dial. Don't pay more than that. No pague más. No pague más. No sean pendejo. No sean pendejo. I know what I'm telling you. You do whatever you want, but don't pay more than that. You do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Our next watch is a Richard Mille RM011. RMO11, the Felipe Massa. Felipe Massa. Rose gold with titanium. Ladies and gentlemen, there was a person that me and Kino know that has this watch still. And I remember when he first got this watch, he paid for it $260,000. and he was happy as a cucumber. He was parading that watch around, and and it did. There was a moment there that watch went over $400,000, and he has some pocket change already. I said it wrong. He has some big money. He has some real big money to be made, and he said that he wasn't going to sell it because it was going to go all the way up. All the way up. And I would tell him, man, I mean, that's a lot of money. If you can get that $450,000 for the watch, let it go. It's it's rose gold with titanium with a baby blue strap. Those straps cost like 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, 7,000. Rubber strap. Unbelievable, but true. Unbelievable. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Well said. Well said, Juan. Very well said. And so he had that watch. And as a matter of fact, he plays a lot of golf with me. And Sweet Kid, and Sweet Kid Kino. Kino is our, he carries our golf clubs and drink beer. So he plays with us, and we always talk, and in the clubhouse while having a burger or having a beer, we talk about that watch always, and we laugh. He laughs. He's all right. He's all right. So we laughed that he didn't get on the train and sell that watch and make that, ganarse la pata esa, So this watch, like I said again, it went all the way up to 400 and change. And he bought it like somewhere 255, 260. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, like he would always tell me, man, this is this is like having a Formula One, watch in your wrist. It's unbelievable, and he would take it off and come on, try it on. And I would try it on, and I bought, I'm going to be honest. I have purchased a couple of Richard Mille watches, but I have, honestly, Scout's honor, because I'm going to be truthful, I bought it to make business with it, to do business, to sell it, flip it, and that's it. And I almost got burned, to be honest, because when I bought it was like at the end of the Corona era, and things were just crumbling down. But I was able to get rid of it and probably made $5,000-6,000. But I was kind of in trouble with that watch, two of them that I bought, to make a little bit of pocket change. But this watch here is Felipe Mas, rose gold titanium, blue strap, chronograph. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want, but don't pay for that watch more than $160,000. And $160,000. Okay? So be careful with Richard Mille watches. They are dead in water. Right? They are dead in water, ladies and gentlemen. Don't give away your money. Don't give away your 401k. And don't give away your children's book fair money to these flim-flammers who have been fleecing you for too long, until Sweet Kid Kino and I came along. You do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch. That's right. Those guys. Those you never seen those gentlemen. They're like around 5'4". Indian brothers from India. They're from India. They're unbelievable. I have never seen this. I've never seen these guys have tape haircuts. They put their baseball caps backwards. They have a lot of graffiti on their hands, on their arms, and they drive. I'm telling you, these people are unbelievable. They drive all go fast cars, Ferraris, Porsche GT3. I mean, monster cars. Lamborghinis. They're like around. Unbelievable. I'm telling you, they have a tape haircut. You ever seen an Hindu with tape haircut like that? Like Dwayne Wade. Unbelievable. And they got all those cars, unbelievable. And they have a white gentleman there. He reminds me of the Gerber baby. The Gerber baby food, little, food thing. They come in, they have a picture there of a baby. And this kid reminds me, the white gentleman, he's American, He probably went to school with them and they met there and they have this little gang. And they're unbelievable. They sell watches to multi-millionaire people with a hoodie on and a hat backwards. You know who they are, right? If you know who they are, no problem. You know who they are. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be talking about a Patek Philippe that I really, really liked very, very much when it first was released a couple of years ago. This is the Patek Philippe 42 millimeter complications, white gold. You know, this watch was over $140,000 when it first was released. It has a fatigue green, olive green color, dial. It has an olive green strap. Does anybody know who I'm talking about? No, nobody knows. It's a beautiful Patek. It's an unbelievable Patek Philippe chronograph. It's the 5924. That's right. No se puede seguir siendo lambones, Juan. No sea lambón, papi, no sea lambón. No regalen más su dinero a los gilipollas, a esos hermanos que son babies, the toddler body brothers. No se lo regalen. No le sigan comprando ticket de eso, de raffle. Don't buy no more of those raffles. Those raffles are getting expensive, and you guys keep on winning, and you guys are never going to win. That's all rigged, man. That's all rigged. Those raffles are all rigged, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do it. I mean, I know what I'm talking about. Don't do it. You do whatever you want, but don't do it, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this Patek Philippe 42 millimeter complications, white gold 5924. This is an unbelievable. This is a 2024 model that I have been offered. Unbelievable. Retail price of that watch is $78,360. Mr. Ed Blair said don't pay more than $61,000. Ed Blair loves to give money away, but he's good. Ed Blair is good. He's very good. It's a very, very interesting watch. Exactly, Ed, it is. It's a watch that I really wanted to get. I really wanted to get that watch. But again, the Almighty knows why I didn't get it, because I'm a good guy, I'm here to give you guys a free public service watch announcement. And this is why the Almighty protects me from giving my wife's money away, because my money is my wife's money, Thank you, Liberty. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna tell you, don't pay. This channel is Joaquin's channel. That's right. That's right. The Lego brothers. That's right. You know who they are, Ty. You know who they are. That's right. You can say it. You can say it here. Don't worry about it. But I won't say it. I won't do that, to be honest. I keep names out of this, This is why I'm still here, If you start voicing out, if you start wolfing names out, they start putting you in, probation. Like they got that Eugene, Eugene the Chia Pet, Las Vegas Park, Buffalo Ranger Walker, Believable. So you got to be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, going back to that Patek 42 millimeter complications, white gold 5924. And like Ed said, it's an unbelievable timepiece. And if any of you can get your hands on it, go ahead, do it, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a beautiful watch. I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm just telling you, if you want to buy it, because I'm looking for it, but watches keep on dropping. So I'm just sitting around waiting, waiting and waiting and waiting. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that beautiful Patek, white gold 5924 G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe green, Don't pay more than $51,000 and $51,000 and okay, there it is. And we're talking about a full set watch, full set. It has everything that you need, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it has everything you need, full set. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this watch market update show. I hope that you guys learned something about Rolex, what they did to Bucherer, Carl Bucherer. You know what they did to them. I hope you learned something from the Cuervo. The Cuervo, the black bird. That was flying around and jumping on the eagle's back. but the eagle took him for a walk all the way up. Took him all the way up. Took him, like you guys been taking. Took him all the way up, and then just let him without no more oxygen and finito. That's what you guys need to do. I know what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope you enjoyed the watch market update. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have a private watch group, and my Facebook page is under my name, Juan Felipe Nieves. Just go under about. You'll find there Opus and Time watches. And maybe, if you request, maybe Sweet Kid Kino will let you in. Okay, guys? All right? Gentlemen, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like our videos. Don't forget that, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget that. We need the more voices hear what's going around out there. The more people hear our public service watch announcement channel. Our channel's growing, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to know that we are almost to a number that every time the Sweet Kid Kino does this, I get amazed. We're almost at 8,000 organic watch channel subscribers, right, guys? Anyway, like me and Sweet Kid Kino say always, take care and brush your hair. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you for supporting the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.